So we all have those cringe-worthy moments in life that we wish we could erase from our memories, as well as everyone else's who witnessed them. Sometimes we live them down, sometimes we don't. Today, I'm going to share with all of you my most embarrassing moments. So from this point forward, I officially will never be able to live them down. One of the first most embarrassing moments that I can remember goes all the way back to junior high. We all know that junior high can be brutal all by itself. Toss in a few embarrassing moments and it takes it to a whole other level. For those of you who know me, you know I grew up in a super small town, and that, my friends, makes it even harder to live shit down. So let me set the scene. Middle of winter, it's been snowing all day. One of my classes was outside, and to get to it or from it, you had to walk through a breezeway that was open on either side to the elements. Therefore, the breezeway would get super icy in the winter months. Well, there I am, sitting in class, counting down the minutes until the bell rang, totally unaware that one of my most embarrassing moments to date would be happening as soon as it did. This particular day, I was in a hurry to get out of class, so I was sitting close to the door, and as soon as the bell rang, I was the first one to fling that door open and race outside, only to be blindsided by this huge, bald janitor in his coveralls who laid me out flat on the icy sidewalk like a linebacker making a game-changing tackle. To make matters worse, if that's even possible, because it was so icy, he couldn't get any traction to get up. So here I am, laid out flat, on my back, barely visible underneath the janitor, while all the other kids piled out of the classrooms watching, pointing, laughing at us while we struggled to get up off the ice. Let's just say I avoided the janitor like the plague for the rest of the year. The next most embarrassing moment that comes to mind is walking home from the bus stop one day. Now again, bear in mind, I grew up in a super small town and my bus stop was literally like a mile and a half from my house. Dirt road, cattle, bulls, that's about it, as far as the eye could see. Well, back then there were a couple of bulls that grazed in this pasture on my way home, and there wasn't really like any fencing or anything to keep them out of the road because there really weren't any people or cars around other than the people who lived out there. So anyhow, I was a little scared of this one bull in particular. He would always get like super aggressive and kind of charge at me. And more than once, he sent me running and screaming like I was being chased by something that was literally going to kill me. So I sort of got in the habit of singing just to kind of pass the time and keep my mind off of the bull while I walked home. So although I like to think I'm fairly talented, singing is not one of my gifts. I sort of sound like what I imagine a cat being tortured sounds like. So here I am in the middle of BFE on a dirt road carrying a buttload of books and belting out Cher If I Could Turn Back Time as loud as I possibly could, only to look up and see one of the cutest boys that I had seen to date looking back at me. He was holding a bow and he was out target practicing, and of course I think I scared him with my singing as much as he scared me with being there, and I was completely mortified. I literally put my head down, power walked the rest of the way home, hoping that that very bull might come and charge me and take me out so that I wouldn't have to live with the embarrassment of what had just happened. So the next embarrassing moment, not only was this one embarrassing, it was sort of traumatic. And it also goes to show how cruel people can be, especially in high school. So I was a cheerleader in high school, and on game days we had to wear our uniforms to school. So it was chilly, and this particular day I had my cheer sweatshirt on, and I had like a hood on the back. So somehow it got around that I had a wee bit of a phobia of worms. Yes, that's right, a phobia of worms. Doesn't matter what kind, because I know all of you at home are gonna ask me what kind. Any kind. They completely gross me out and freak me out in ways that I cannot even describe to you. Anyway, it's a topic for another day. Back to my embarrassing moment. Some asshole girl got wind of the fact that I had this phobia, and of course that gave her some ammunition to do something hateful to me, to get attention, because she was really kind of the type of girl who couldn't get and didn't get any attention otherwise. We all know those types of girls. So she got a hold of some rubber fishing worms, you know, like the kind that look and feel pretty realistic. And while I was sitting in class, completely unaware, she was filling the hood of my sweatshirt with those rubber worms. So as soon as I stood up to leave class, they started just like falling off of me and falling onto the floor. And of course, she laughed, I cried. It was embarrassing for sure. Kind of traumatic. So this one, my sister was the culprit. I was a bit obsessed with flash dance and working out, which was probably not the best combination back then. I even got one of those like cute off the shoulder kind of shirts, you know, that was made out of like workout sweatshirt material, and I wore it to dance around my bedroom like with the leg warmers on like she did in the movie. So one day I was totally in flash dance mode and I was dancing to Maniac, you know, where she's all crazy. And I was all crazy like in that outfit, and I looked up and about peed myself because my sister had climbed up onto the roof of our porch so she could look into my bedroom window and spy on me. Then of course use this information to torture me with for years to come. Any boy that I really liked to date or anything that came to meet my dad, this is a story my sister would tell them. Mortifying. So then on to college years. I worked at this bar in Tempe, Arizona. It's right by ASU. It's called the Owl's Nest. It was right above Hooters, and it was next to the Sun Devil Stadium. It was super popular and busy. It was one of, you know, the only bars to just be known to have just super pretty girls working in it. Well, one game day, we were super slammed, tons and tons of hot guys in there everywhere. And I was cocktailing. I had the pool table section, which had a little step kind of down from the bar. Well, I had this table of like 8 guys who were all being super flirty with me, and of course I was playing all hard to get and trying to be cute and go to the bar and get their round of beers and go walk back down to drop them off. Well, I'm trying to be all sexy and temptressy, and I missed the step altogether, and all 8 bottles of beer came crashing down, shattered all over the floor. It's pretty hard to pretend that I was a badass after that. All I could really do was laugh it off and go get another round of beers. So those, my peeps, are some of my most embarrassing moments to date. Hope you all had a good laugh at my expense.